Hey y'all, it's Chris with Rockin Farm, and today we're finally going to shoot the evaluation video. This one has me a bit nervous, I'm not going to lie. The reason for that would be it's not like I'm a breeder that has 10 years of experience. Also, different breeders look for different things for their programs. I'm not quite as picky as maybe someone else might be. There's the breed standard, and then there's the people who are going to select their pigs above the breed standard, and then there's people that are going to pick their pigs well above the breed standard, almost as if they were long-standing show pigs that have been around for a century. And I like all of that. My program isn't quite big enough, and I don't quite have enough land to where I can afford to keep one out of every 25 pigs and have 24 feeder pigs. I would go broke. And I'm not saying that's what a lot of really picky people do anyhow. I'm just, you know, kind of going with extremes. And I use the word picky very loosely because to some people, I'm very picky. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I look for in pigs. I'm not putting this video out there for breeders. Okay, so people who are breeders have already established the way they're going to do it. Even if you're a new breeder, you're going to listen to other breeders. You're going to listen to the breeder you bought your stock from. You're going to hear me. That's fine. You're going to develop your own way to look at this. This video that I'm shooting is really for the person who is going to purchase breed quality or feeder Idaho pasture pigs from a breeder. And when they start pointing things out, then you can say, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. And or if that breeder's not pointing things out, you're going to have a basic idea of what it is that you should be looking for at the minimum, and then go from there. So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a at the minimum look. We're going to be evaluating some piglets today that are 9 weeks old. So these are piglets that at like 6 or 7 weeks old, I said, let me keep an eye on them for a couple more weeks. So we're going to see if they've either progressed well enough that I can say, okay, well, let me keep keeping an eye on you. Or if they've, gone the other direction and I'm like, nope, feeder, and we'll get them tagged, castrated, all that good stuff. So then we're also going to be looking at some piglets that are, let me see, about 6.5 weeks old. They'll be 7 weeks old here real soon. We're going to be taking a look at those piglets too, because that is still young enough that there's still going to be more of those let me keep an eye on yous. It's also a good idea. I like to take a look at my pigs at 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. By 8 weeks, I'm making a relatively final decision because I want to get pigs off my farm. So I'm either castrating and getting them off as barrows, or saying, okay, that pig's good enough, I'm willing to put my name behind it and getting it off to a home. With the gilts, I'm willing to watch the gilts a little bit longer because I keep most of the gilts back on my farm anyhow. If it's a breed quality gilt and I'm like, that's a good looking pig, I get her out of here. If it's a pig that I'm questioning whether or not she's going to be breed quality, then I have the freedom to watch her because I can keep her on my farm as a feeder pig. And if she gets to 6, 7, 8 months old and she's looking really, really nice, well, that's okay. I can get her registered, get her bred, and sell her as a bred gilt. But 99.99% of the time when I'm watching a pig to see whether or not they're going to be a breeder or a feeder, they end up being a feeder. Anyhow, let's go ahead and jump into this. You're going to see some choppiness because I'm doing some shots today. I'm probably going to do a little castrating today. This isn't a shots video. This isn't a castrating video. This is just what I'm kind of looking for in a pig video. The ones that I've already tagged as feeders 2 weeks ago or whatever, I'm probably not going to bring them on camera. All right, so I got a little guy here, and a couple of weeks ago I wasn't sure what we were going to do with him. I'm looking at him now, and I'm going to make the feeder call on him. I'm about to tell you why. So the very first thing I do with my piglets is this right here. I got him up here on my knee. I'm sitting here and I'm talking. I'm not throwing my hands around a whole lot or poking and prodding at him, but he's very chilled out. So this right here is actually kind of my first step because we are breeding for piglets that are going to behave themselves and be nice piglets. So with that in mind, this guy right here is very, very calm. So he has the disposition that I want. But the next thing I'm going to look at, and it becomes very, very obvious very, very quickly, is the snout. Sometimes snouts can change a lot, and that's why the snouts become confusing. But if I've got a pig that looks like it has a pretty good snout, then at this point I'm checking underlines. I'm going to tell you what I don't like about this snout though. From right here at his eyebrows down to here at his nose, he's very straight, okay? I like to see kind of a concave or a dip right here. And the reason for that, I mean, just think about our nose. Like if we were straight from our eyebrow down to like the meaty tip of our nose, we would look a little funny. That's not a real good indicator that it's gonna turn up. I like to see a little bit of a dish here. And then at this age, a lot of times, you know, the wrinkles, there's not a whole lot of wrinkles there, but he definitely doesn't have any wrinkles. This is the meaty part of his nose, okay? That doesn't count. I mean, that dish is right there, but that's what they use to scoop dirt and mud. There's not a whole lot of wrinkles here, and he's very straight from here to here. Also, if you look at him from the front, he's much fatter back here at the base of his nose than he is up here at the tip of his nose. I'm not super happy with his nose, but I'm definitely thinking this guy's gonna go feeder route for sure. I don't see this nose improving a whole lot, unfortunately. As far as his underline goes, it's okay, bud. So as far as his underline goes, let me see, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, and only two sets above his penis area. Let me see, 1, 2, 3. See, his underline's not good either, so that actually really helps me make up my mind for me. If he had an absolutely perfect underline, then I'd be like, oh gosh, I'll give that nose another week and see what it does. But I'm not happy with the underline. It's really even down here at the bottom where it doesn't matter. And keep in mind, we're talking about teats on a boar. And teats on a boar are as useless as teats on a boar, but he is gonna pass those genetics onto his daughters who are gonna be trying to nurse piglets. So like, you can't really see here, but it's okay, buddy. I know, it's a little too much, huh? Too much. There's 3 teats on this side and there's 2 on this side. If he passed this genetics onto his daughter, then as she grows, if 3 piglets were trying to nurse here and 2 were nursing here, this piglet nursing on this odd, funky nipple would be falling between these piglets. Piglets have to be able to stack on top of each other to feed, and that's why you want nice, even teats. So the fact that he's got like these funky teats and his best teats are all down here below the navel and the nose, that pretty much makes my decision for me. This guy's gonna get cut, he's gonna be a barrow, and that's that. So let's grab another piglet. So with this guy here, you can see that little dish right here that I'm talking about on the nose, you know, so it actually has like a bridge of a nose like we have. So he's got a little bit of a dish. Believe it or not, we've still got some wrinkles going on down here. His nose it's a good length for his age because he's got the couple of wrinkles and because he's got the dish, but I think he's looking good. What I like is that if you take this line from his ear down around his jaw and up his lip here, and this is a lot more evident when they're bitty babies, okay? When they're like a week or 2, 2.5, maybe even 3 weeks old, this will be basically like a circle, a semicircle, and that's a good indicator when they're little that they are gonna hopefully go the direction you want them to go. But if you look from the back of his ear, around his jaw, up his bottom jaw, and up to his nose, it's not like the nose sticks out or leans down this way. This is all, it follows a curve. Do you see what I'm saying? I hope you see what I'm saying. So again, from the back of the ear, around the jaw, and up this way, this all follows a nice curve. I like that. It means that his bottom jaw and his top jaw and his snout are kind of all very symmetrical and they look the way they should. I'm sitting here drawing all over this guy's face and he's very chill right now. He's okay with me. He's not super pissed off. He doesn't want me picking him up because, y'all, if you didn't know, pigs don't fly. So when they don't have hoof contact with the ground, they're not happy with you. So he's very unhappy right now, but he's not pitching a fit. I like his ear set, okay? They're not hanging way down on the side of his head. They're also not too close on the top, not too far forward. So he's got good ear set. He's kind of pinning him back a little bit right now because he's unhappy with me, but he's got good ear set. Here's another thing I really like about this guy. I'm gonna have my camera guy see if they can get a good look at his underline. Oh, it's okay, bud. So I don't know how it's gonna do, or how good it's gonna zoom on the camera. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But then this is what I want you to notice. We've got 2 lined up well here, 2 lined up well here, 2 lined up well here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. They're all very, very, very well lined up. This isn't a bad underline. So this is one of those ones where with only having 12 teats, some other breeders might say not good enough and immediately go to the feeder pile. For me and for my program, for the breeders that I'm trying to work with or potential pig owners that I'm trying to work with, I would say that this is an underline that falls within the breed standard. Breed standard is a minimum of 10 teats that are well aligned and evenly spaced. Here we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 teats that are all well aligned and evenly spaced. So, per the definition, this underline meets the breed standard. This may not be good enough for some breeders, and that is totally awesome. I support them in that. This is an underline that I would say meets at the minimum definition of the breed standard. All right, here's another guy that has everything we look for in a snout, but there's a couple things I'm not digging about this guy. Number one, he's been griping and complaining the entire time. He's finally calmed down now, but he hasn't been acting real calm. And then on top of that, he has an underline that I'm not happy with. He's 7 by 6, but not real super well aligned. And then he's got that funky little 3 teats and 2 teats at the top thing. But I'm asking my camera person, like this one here and this one here, those aren't aligned either, are they? They're like, one is considerably lower than the other. Okay, so my camera person has a better view than I do. So yeah, I mean, I've got 2 teats that are okay here, 2 that kind of angle here, 1 that doesn't belong, 2 that kind of angle here, 2 that kind of angle here. This is from my view, but would you agree?
Yeah.
And then down here they look great. So this isn't an underline that I would want to pass on to a breeding program. And then, like I said, he's got a little bit of an attitude. So, you know, even though he's got a real pretty face, it's just, he just doesn't meet my requirements. I'm looking for a calm pig first, that has a great snout, that has a good underline, and then we start looking at the other stuff. So this is a pig that we're going to go ahead and tag as a feeder, and it always breaks my heart when they're so darn cute and have such a pretty face. But when they have a bad attitude and a cruddy underline, those just aren't the genetics that we want to pass along. Here's another guy that, if anything, he is, his nose is a little shorter than I would prefer. Keep in mind though, he's only 6.5 weeks old. So what we have here is a nice broad snout. It's okay, buddy. It's okay. He's a drama queen pig. He doesn't have a bad attitude, but he's gonna sit here and complain the whole time. But he's got a nice broad snout. And he's got the really nice circle. Yeah, I know. Pigs don't fly, huh? He's got the really nice circle, and I'm seeing indicators that he's going to get a little more length in his snout. Keep in mind that we say the snout should be a medium length and it should be broad and not taper drastically. He's definitely broad and does not taper drastically. As far as the medium length goes, well, it's not like we've just got like, this is short, this is medium, this is long, period, end of story. You know, within short, there's like really short and then like, I mean, it's kind of short. So it's kind of the same within medium. If we get a little more length in his nose, I'll be happy with it. If his nose stays the length it is, we'll see what I have as far as a gilt to pair him up with, and or if he's just going to be too smush-faced. But he's not smush-faced right now. He's got the nice divot here. He still has some wrinkles because he's only 6 weeks old. I think he's going to end up having a pretty good snout. I think he'll get a little more length in it as he gets older. Now his underline is darn near perfect. He's a 7 by 7. The teats align, you know, really, really close to perfectly. So he doesn't have what we would call a perfect 7 by 7 underline, to where everything is literally straight across, like you could draw it with a ruler. But I mean, we're talking like off by 1/8 of an inch. Like it's just a hair lower. You're standing back and looking at it and kind of going, yeah, that one's a hair low. So they're close. They're really close to straight across. So we're gonna put him over here in the pen, and I'll show you kind of some of the next steps. So the next thing I do in my evals is I just kind of put them in the pen here, and I just let them wander for a little bit. I'm trying to get a good idea of temperament right now. He's not like just drastically trying to get out. He's not thrashing around. He's not squealing. He's, you know, he's not happy. He's contained right now, so he's not happy, but he's not being a huge jerk. So this is a good indicator of temperament. And then I just kind of sit here and watch him, and I'm not sure we're gonna catch everything on camera, but I'm looking for things like, how do his ears set? So on this pig, he's got a nice ear set. You know, they're not too far forward, they're not too far back, they're not too far up on his head. He's got a nice ear set. His tail is right where a pig's tail should be. You know, I mean, it's not too high up on his back. It's also not like he's got a really long curving back. During the few times that I've seen him stand up here straight, he has a nice straight back. He's got some decent length on him for his size. So, I mean, I could say he's got a good length. When we look at the legs, we want to make sure that he doesn't have real weak legs, meaning that that back toe is like darn near touching the ground. We also want to make sure he's not standing up on his tippy toes. So these are all things that we're going to be looking for, and the best way that I have found to do it is to just sit here and watch them. So that's exactly what I would do. I'm not going to sit here too long on the camera right now, but you know, I might sit out here for 4 or 5, 6 minutes, and then I might put him back in with those litter mates and try to get the camera on him and sit with him for another 5 or 10 minutes. But this is what I'm looking for now. So when I'm up close and personal, I'm looking at teats, I'm looking at snouts, I'm looking at temperament. I'm making sure that their eyes are good, you know, that they don't have like a bad eye, like blindness in one eye. You know, I'm looking for any signs of illness, you know, because I'm up close and personal with them. But then to look at everything else, to look at whether or not they've got a straight back, good tail set, good ear set, strong legs, you know, nice hams, nice shoulders. Are the front shoulders proportional to the hams, or do they narrow or broaden greatly? These are all things that I just do while I'm sitting here looking at the camera. So again, y'all, I'm not some huge pig guru. I haven't been doing this for 5, 10, 15 years. But, you know, I know what I'm looking for in the pigs that are being bred out of my program. You have to play it by ear, people. You know, I mean, you can't have necessarily hard and fast rules because there's always going to be exceptions. Even the best breeders that I know of that cull really, really hard will keep back a pig that technically would meet their cull standards. They'll keep it back for their program because they have a boar or a gilt that it would match really well with. And like I said, this is not the end all be all. I'm not trying to set some sort of a super high bar or super high standard for existing breeders. This video is really for people that are brand new to breeding and have no idea what they're doing with evaluations, or for those of you who are going out to farms and looking at Idaho pasture pigs, so that, you know, you kind of know what you're looking for. You're not just taking the breeder's word for it. A good breeder is going to point to all kinds of faults out on a pig too as well. If you're dealing with a breeder that is like, oh, perfect, 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 I want you to have a little bit of ammunition to be able to say, well, how about that nose? Or, well, how about that underline? Judge hard, cull hard. That's how we're going to improve the breed. But if you've got something that is really, really, really good, don't let the fact that it's not perfect be what makes you cull the pig, okay? So, I mean, I have a saying all the time, not to let perfection be the enemy of greatness. So if you've got a pig that's a really great pig, but it's not like perfect, 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 there's still room for it as long as it is within the breed standards. On the Idaho Pasture Pig Registry website, familiarize yourself with the breed standards and then make your judgments accordingly. And myself and almost every other breeder I know is totally willing to answer any questions that you have. Also, don't be afraid to have other people do evaluations. All the video that I've shot today is going to be chopped up and cut up, and it's going to be sent to other breeders, and I'm going to see if they concur with some of the things that I decided today. And every once in a while they say, yeah, what were you looking at? And you know what? That's okay, because I've done that for some of them too. This has been Chris with Rockin Farm. I want every one of you to be happy, live healthy, and get out there and evaluate those piglets.